while we were all gathering under the bright sun of Davos earlier this year, enjoying its crisp snow and contemplating a fruitful and promising year, what a change of paradigm we have experienced. And the new normality that we are all facing today is also promising in terms of challenging. But let us first pay tribute to those who have encountered immense suffering during these 5+ months. First and foremost, of course, from a health perspective, but also indirectly in light of the deep damages that have been encountered from an economic standpoint. The Geneva Chamber of Commerce is again delighted to be associated to the 2020 edition of SIGEF, which, thanks to the miracles of technologies, allows us to be gathered today. As you know, there's been a long-standing relation between the Geneva Chamber of Commerce and Horyou, which was born here in Geneva, and which is actually very much aligned with the ecosystem that we are blessed to praise here in Geneva, an ecosystem which is marked by its openness to the world. An ecosystem which, again, is dedicated to multilateralism and makes Geneva, the smallest of the large cities, a global village where all stakeholders within one's constituency can find an open dialogue place. And I humbly believe that this is what we need. It is not by chance that Horyou was given birth here in Geneva, or that the WHO, which is under the spotlight nowadays, is also headquartered here in Geneva, precisely because we offer that neutral ground where dialogue in a fragmented world can be achieved with all necessary serenity. And again, here in my humble capacity as Director General of the Chamber of Commerce, I've been asked by Jonathan, and I thank him warmly, to address a few words to you and share what have been possibly the best practices of our institution throughout this crisis, a crisis which is not over. And while Switzerland is displaying very encouraging figures and was ranked #1 in terms of post-COVID safety, we nonetheless need to remain vigilant. And to the extent possible, all of us, based on our own responsibility, try and mitigate the risks of a second wave of the pandemic. And our thoughts are with those in areas throughout the world which are more heavily impacted and have not yet seen that light at the end of the tunnel. Again, it is my modest belief that in these times of unprecedented crisis, it is the role of a business support organization such as the Chamber of Commerce to be even more actively present for the benefits of its 2,500 corporate members. And the office where you see me right here in the center of Geneva, not far away from Horyou's premises, well, indeed has been my home for 5 months. And I must say that each and every day, like many of you business entrepreneurs, I've been sitting at that very place, of course, making sure, and this is my responsibility, ensuring that the 30+ employees within our startup SME, were all safe. But again, as a chief in command of this of our organization, I stood here and ensured that we could deliver the appropriate response to those in need, i.e. the corporate actors which the Chamber of Commerce is representing. And to this end, we've developed quite a range and a broad and wide range of measures to the benefit of the economic space here in Geneva. We've acted on two fronts. First of all, on the macro one, advocating the voice of the business community. We've run intense lobbying vis-à-vis the authorities, both locally, regionally, and nationally, and even beyond our borders through the International Chamber of Commerce, to ensure that, to the extent possible, the necessary level of support was granted to entrepreneurs. And within the very consensual system of Switzerland, where compromise is in the heart of our DNA, we have been involved in and engaged in a very robust dialogues with the authorities to ensure that that economic component was duly taken care of. Therefore, we've pleaded, by way of example, to ensure that the temporary support to non-working or laid off staff, and it was 1/2 of the total workforce here in Geneva, could be properly taken care of. We've ensured that for independent workers, the necessary level of protection could be granted. These are a few measures that we've been advocating, again, on the macro front. From the micro perspective, within our community of members and the business club of the chambers, we've provided, again, a very vast array of measures to our members. And again, and this is probably among the lessons to be learned, and I'll say a few words about this in just a second from now, but we had anticipated to a large extent that new digital world, and had ensured previously that we could shift from the on-site presence towards the digital experience that we've all been experiencing for months and that we are going through here for that 2020 SIGEF. It called for a certain level of agility, but with a committed staff, we have managed to, again, shift part of our 100 yearly events through that numeric geography. And to give you an example, our General Assembly, which we are due to hold during the first semester of the year, was held digitally, and we were a pioneer in the sense that all votes were cast and duly secured through the blockchain, which again is one of the key innovation leverage that is being developed throughout the world, but especially here in Geneva, where there's a dedicated cluster. So again, we've adjusted, we've adapted, and I believe this is at the center stage of the agility that is being required. We are a private institution. I don't get one penny from the state. And it means that I need to ensure that on a daily basis, I can testify to the return on investment for our members, and I believe that in that sense, we've managed to cope with that new reality. On top of this, we have ensured that we could, and this echoes the very theme of today's SIGEF, i.e. solidarity, that we could act as a force for good to the benefits of our members, and showcasing through the various leverages and communication means that we have internally the extreme level of commitment by many corporate actors to ensure that we could all collectively face the pandemic. And therefore, we've endeavored to, again, showcase what the business community here in Geneva has achieved. And we have ourselves very modestly participated to this because we believe that together we're stronger, and above all, we'll go further. And this is one of the lessons to be learned from this crisis. And for instance, we've managed from a pro bono perspective to have about 200 tons of PPE, protective medical equipment being shipped and delivered to hospitals throughout the western part of Switzerland. This is one of the very humble steps that we've taken to alleviate the suffering from the population. So again, I was asked, and I'm not gonna again take too much of your time by providing you with additional examples, but I believe that it is in these difficult times, while we are navigating tough waters, that institutions such as the CCIG needs to hold the fort to keep to ensure that we have the map clearly in mind, and that for the benefit of those that we are assisting, we stand fiercely and ensure that we could navigate through some calmer waters, and this is what I wish you all. As I mentioned, solidarity is probably one of the key takeaways from these extraordinary times that we are going through. And while I'm optimistic by nature, you know that Rousseau was very active here in Geneva, and probably this is also part of our genetic code in this part of the world, where we believe in the force of humankind. We need to be realistic, and with the times proving a little less more restrictive nowadays, we can reasonably fear that our behaviors and the one we were adopting prior to that crisis will very vividly come back on the front stage. But I guess we shall have to remember what we've gone through here, and ensure that that level of solidarity, fraternity, does not only remain part of a marketing argument. I believe that there is a true momentum where we can collectively ask for the benefit of the larger community, and I sense that this is something that will leave a vivid trace for the years to come. And this also goes with sustainability. We all appreciate that we are at the edge of some major environmental distortions here in our own and sole planet. And while I'm fiercely, and this is my role, supporting a very robust economy, I believe that it is our responsibility collectively to ensure that we can, to the extent possible, mitigate the environmental footprint of our activities. And possibly the fact that we could all benefit from the absence of noise, and looking at the clear sky and hearing the birds every morning is also a reminder of how important it is for us all in our daily commitment to take care of planet Earth. But this is not something that we are opposing to the business reality. Purpose and profit are two convergent elements, and it is also the role of the Chamber as that facilitator to ensure that while we want to generate value, economic value, and this is our foremost objective, that value includes that environmental and social component. This is the very purpose of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, that are being put into place precisely here in Geneva. So as I told you before, I believe that we are all aligned between SIGEF, the Chamber of Commerce, and more broadly, what the spirit of Geneva has to offer to the world. So to you all, I would like to wish not only a fruitful SIGEF 2020 edition, looking forward to seeing you in presence during the next edition, but above all, that we all collectively grasp the fruits of what we've gone through and are still going through to ensure that we can work for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a great conference.
Thank you, Mr. Sudalier, for your opening statement. It was my honor to invite you at our SIGEFOnLine conference boardroom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to world. Minister, Excellencies, distinguished speakers and panelists, CEOs, our SIGEF organizing committee, and Horyou team. All over the world, online participations and attendees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly humbled and proud to announce the first online edition for the Social Innovation Global Ethics Forum 2020. All over the world, we are currently rallying to contain the spread of the COVID-19 infections and treat its patients. Globally, as of the 22nd of June 2020, there have been more than 8 million confirmed cases of the COVID-19 and many unfortunate victims of this pandemic reported to WHO. SIGEFOnLine main topic is sustainability and solidarity for a smarter world post-COVID-19, challenges and openings within the SDG framework. During this unprecedented time, Social Innovation Global Ethics Forum Organizing Committee, we stand here together and stress to facilitate and accelerate COVID-19 pandemic global solutions through our conference and social goods ecosystem with Horyou. Our founder and chairman of SIGEF Organizing Committee, Jonathan Barrienty, will be sharing in few minutes our vision of how we can open a more sustainable and inclusive path, leveraging technology and connecting people for positive impact and interactions. The world is facing many challenges that are articulated in its 2030 agenda, and we hope Horyou continues its path toward innovating to support a more inclusive future for all. The race for coronavirus cure or also vaccine is one of the most urgent shared endeavor of our lifetimes. It is only by working together that we will prevent future waves of the infection and end this pandemic as we are one. SIGEF is a leading international forum advocating United Nations 2030 agenda and its 17th Sustainable Development Goal since 2014, as well as to foster the advancement of disruptive technology innovations and social entrepreneurship that aim to enforce the social economic inclusion. Our vision at Horyou and Horyou Foundation reflects the principle of the human rights, and our values are striving for respect for diversity and then serving trust into the private sector to cooperate to build this more harmonious future. Our world is in transition. As a result, stakeholders will have adopt business models, strategies, and share visions, as well as how embracing and economic the UN SDG framework and sustainability and best practice could lead the shaping of better future. Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, to open this session of the SIGEFOnLine, please let me introduce the Horyou Foundation founder, Jonathan Barrienty. Please.
Thank you, Gio. And thank you, Director General Vincent Subilia, for the opening statement. So as it was mentioned, we are living unprecedented times, and that is, like in the course of human history, something which is almost unprecedented. That from all aspects, in all our diversity, in all the geographies and a continent, whatever the social background or the different aspect and wakes of life, we have lived a moment, and that moment was faced with solidarity, empathy, generosity, and as well a commitment to preserve life. So it was in our view paramount within our Horyou ecosystem, our Horyou team, to seize this moment and to reflect upon him, gathering some visionaries and experts and change makers from around the planet that will be sharing their insights and visions on this post-COVID world that we are opening each day a little bit more. I am as well very thankful for the more than 200 attendees that have registered so far, and this is continuing as we are speaking, that are coming from really all over the world. I will just mention few cities and few countries, but we have people from Kuwait, from Osaka, from Cameroon, from Porto Alegre, Brazil, from Canada, Waterloo, from Oslo, from Paris, from Kuala Lumpur, from Taipei, from Casablanca, from South Africa, from Hong Kong, from Geneva, and from many other places of the world where people are joining to get inspiration from all of us, and as well to share our commitment to build a more sustainable and inclusive future. So we are going to have across the day 5 main plenary sessions that will be dealing with some of the challenges that we are facing and that are covered within the United Nations 2030 agenda. So, as you saw in the agenda, we will be starting with the thematic of technology for a healthier and safer future. This is mostly related to the SDG number 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being at all ages. We will be following that session by sustainable finance, recapturing a healthy growth for the benefit of all. That is included other SDGs about supporting the SDG 17, strengthening the means for implementing and revitalizing the global partnership for sustainable development. We will have as well one passionating session which will be dealing with gender equality and empowerment and education, supporting the SDG 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. We will have as well a session which is dealing with the reshaping of the working environment and how we can support reducing disparity, inequality to build a sustainable growth. So this will be more related to SDG number 8, promoting sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. And lastly, we will be closing with a topic which will be quite large, dealing with global economy, clean energy and climate actions at the crossroad. which is including other SDGs supporting the SDG number 13, taking urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. So all the day we will have the chance and privilege to welcome stakeholders and speakers from international organizations, from UN agencies, from government officials, as well as innovators, entrepreneurs, non-profit activists, and people that are dedicating their life to think and do the world of tomorrow. So again, I want to thank you all for joining this first edition of SIGEFOnline, and we look forward your comments within our Horyou ecosystem and on other social media platforms, and we hope that all together we will again resonate with this moment of sharing thinking and as well best practices and solutions, so we can convey our hope to generations to come and build this required more harmonious and inclusive future. Thank you very much.